Hello and welcome to Modelling Misadventures. Now, in the last video we got the tailplane and vertical fin attached with the elevator and rudder, and now we're going to have a go at fitting the servos and control rods that will control these surfaces. So that should be great fun. Let's get cracking. Yeah. But what do these servos actually do? Right. It's got three wires coming out of it. I don't know what it connects to. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what's that doing on? So the servo fitting is really easy. Just cut these two little hardwood rails, and these are just going to fit in the fuselage, and the servos are going to fit on them. Now I'm just going to test these servos to make sure that they're centered properly, and I'm going to use this little servo tester that I've got here, and this will check that the servo's working. I can make sure that it's controllable, and if I press the button again, that's it centered. Now I'm just putting these servo grommets on, and these are to help reduce vibration, and you've got to make sure you put them on the right way around because they've got a round end and a square end, and the round end's got to go into the hole, so you've got to push these in. They're a bit of a tight fit, but then they go in like that. Whoops. And that's what it should look like with all the grommets in and these little brass inserts that allow the screws to go through. That's ready to go in. Now this is how it shows the servos fitted on the plans, but I'm actually going to put them the other way round, and that's because my throttle linkage is on the opposite side to what's shown on the plans. So I'm going to reverse them, and this will be my throttle servo, and then the other two are going to be the rudder and elevator. Well, there they are, and they're all in. And next it's time for the control rods. Now on a modern radio controlled aeroplane, you'd actually put the servos back here near the control surfaces. So there'd be one sitting here for the rudder and another one sitting just in here for the elevator. But in the old days, the servos would have been too heavy for that, and they had to mount them up here near the center of gravity. So in order to connect the servos to the control surfaces, you need a long rod. Now on this vintage plane, we're going to use a wooden rod with a bit of wire on each end, and that's very old-fashioned. A more modern way would be to use a metal wire inside a tube, something called a snake, but that's not how they did it on these vintage planes, so I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to use this wooden rod and connect it to the control surfaces at either end with some wire. Now I'm going to fit these control arms next, and this one's going onto the rudder just there. Now that's only a temporary fitting, just to set the control surfaces up. That'll all have to come off when the rudder gets covered. So that's the control horns on the rudder and the elevator. Now the tricky bit, connecting those to the servos. So this is the first rod for the elevator. That's going to go in here like this. Voila. And that's going to be fastened to this in here. Like that. And at the other end, I'm going to cut another piece of wire from this rod, before I do that, I'm going to make a Z bend in it with these Z pliers. Watch this. Nice. So that's all the bits for the first control rod. The first piece of wire and the wooden rod, and then the second piece of wire that goes to the servo. So I'm going to fasten these together now. And then I'm putting super glue on here and it'll stop it from unwinding. That's what it looks like. That'll be great when the glue's dried. There it is, the finished push rod. Look at that. What a great design. Well, I've got them finished. Let's have a look to see how they turned out. What do you think of it? Oh, it looks very good, doesn't it? Yeah, I've made a good job, haven't I? Yes, did you tell them? Tell them what? Well, I had to help you with it, didn't I? No, you didn't. I did this myself. Yes, that you phoned me up this morning, didn't you? And asked me all about the servos. You didn't know anything about them, did you? Right, well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. So all that remains to be said is we'll see you next time on Modelling Misadventures. Bye! Bye!